Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. I'd like to welcome you to our Lunch and Learn session for Project Management Best Practices. My name is Sarah and I will be hosting today's session. During our presentation, if you have any questions, please enter them in the GoToMeeting chat window. I will do my best to answer all your questions before the end of today's Lunch and Learn. A recording of the session will be available by the end of the week on our YearbookFusion Desktop support portal under Tutorials. Today, our topics will cover project management best practices, including portraits versus candid pages, project plans and working with the team, general design tips to get you heading in the right direction. So let's get started. Yearbooks are usually composed of two kinds of pages, portrait pages and candid pages. Portrait pages are what makes a yearbook different from a regular photo book and only enabled by using a YearbookFusion license provided by a yearbook publishing company. A portrait page is the standard presentation style for portraits. It consists of a grid displaying portraits with names next to or under the photos. YearbookFusion allows you to automate the production of the portrait pages by importing the images with a database. You can customize the panels and make changes to the data. A candid page resembles a scrapbook or photo book, contains custom text and informal photos of people and events. Candid pages can be created from scratch by dragging and dropping images and graphics onto the page or by using customizable templates. The team and the project. The yearbook manager will act as the primary contact between the school and the yearbook company. They will also be in charge of mapping it out. Here, the yearbook manager will determine the sections for inclusion in the book. They will assign tasks to team members, such as photography, page design, proofreading, etc. Organize images in Dropbox by creating a folder system where images can be uploaded to. Set deadlines to submit work. Assemble and proof the yearbook. And submit the book to the yearbook publisher. The yearbook manager will often be the party responsible for importing the PSPA file, which is used to create the portrait pages. He or she is usually also responsible for the proofing of the yearbook and getting it submitted to the publisher. Now, the yearbook manager is likely working with a team, and each team member may have one or more pages assigned to them with an expected page count for each section. This is particularly important if the yearbook is limited to a specific number of pages by the publisher. The team members can all work on these separate pages. Now let's take a look at how the project manager and team can map out the project in the various sections to get things set up for success. The secret to creating a successful yearbook is to map the project out before you put a single image to canvas. The bulk of your time will be spent organizing images and determining the flow of your book into pages and sections. Once this work is done, the page design process will be a breeze. So use our book ladder to create the layout of your book to make the entire process less daunting. Start planning early in the year, not a couple of weeks before the yearbook is due. Don't stress yourself out. To begin, consult the school calendar from the previous and current year to determine what the big events in the school will be. Look for recurring events, performances, fundraisers, fairs, dances, sporting events, club activities, etc. Do any staff members need special pages, such as a note from the principal or a page for awards of merit for faculty? Reserve a few pages for everyday life at the school, life at the cafeteria, study hall, library, recess, and so on. Also be sure to have a few pages free for the unexpected. Both happy and sad events need to be chronicled at your school, and not every event is planned or expected. Once we have mapped out our design and know what will be included, you can then create the layout in the software. Managing your yearbook. This next section is on managing your yearbook. Here we will review the My Book tab and how to manage your pages, photos, team members, and submitting the final yearbook. I have switched over to our YearbookFusion Desktop software with remote storage. When you first access YearbookFusion Desktop, you will be on our My Book tab. The My Book tab is where you will create and manage your pages, photos, and team members. The Book tab is the home screen that shows the book ladder view, which is this column here. The Photos tab is where you go to manage your gallery of photos. You will first be brought to your Dropbox folder, which you can then go into. Here you have two options. You can start uploading images by coming to your Add Images button in the right corner here. It will access your folders on your computer. You can select one and hit open, or you can select multiple and hit open. And as you can see, they will begin to upload. You can also create a folder system for organization. To do that, you right-click, go to New Directory, and give it a name. If you create folders after you've uploaded images, you can move the images by simply clicking and dragging them over to the folder, and they will get moved in. Each folder within Dropbox will have its own customized URL, which you can see here. These URLs are handy because you can distribute them to people that are not part of the yearbook team. So if you get a parent or a colleague at the school saying they got some wonderful shots from a sporting event that they think you might like for the yearbook, you can come into your sports folder, copy the URL, and paste it into an email. They then will have that URL and it will open it in an internet browser, and they will see any photos that are here, but they won't be able to delete them. They won't be able to download them. All they can do is click on the Add Images button and upload any of their photos. The next tab is our Portraits tab. This is where you will import your PSPA file. That is something that will be reviewed in next week's Lunch and Learn. Next, we have our Team tab. This is where you can come to create logins for additional team members with different access levels. To do that, you start by clicking the Add Team Member. You create a customized user ID and a password, then their first name and last name. The email address is optional. Down at the bottom there's a send confirmation email. The default is yes. So with that saying yes, we would have to enter an email. We can say don't send confirmation, and then the email is not necessary. The confirmation email provides the team member their user ID, their password, and a link to download the software. Next is our role field. The default is editor, but what is an editor? Over here we have our what role should I choose, so we can see the different roles and what abilities they have. Co-manager, as you can see, has green check marks under everything, so that means they're equal to the main user ID. They can do everything. Next is advisor. They can do everything except manage users, so they will not have the team tab. Senior editors, they can edit any page, but they cannot move the pages around, so they cannot drag page 1 down to the page 5 position. Editor, which is common when students are involved in the yearbook, they can only edit pages they've been assigned to. If they have not been assigned a page to work on, they will see everything, but it'll be faded and they won't be able to get any work done. So we'll hit OK, and I'm going to leave mine as an editor. Can upload photos. The default is to have a check mark, but if you don't want the particular team member to be able to upload photos to the Photos tab, you can remove that check mark. Once all your settings are complete, you select Save Changes, and your team member is created. And you would repeat the process for as many team members as you need. If you have changes to make or wish to remove the team member, you have these two buttons here. The trash can will delete the team member. The pencil is edit and it will open up the settings again. Next is our Admin tab. Admin is where you can select the book type. So my default setting is for hardcover. I can click Edit and select the drop down and pick any of the other types offered by my publisher and hit Save. This is where you can also turn off your page numbering. The default is to have it on. You can click Edit and turn off here, or this is also where you make all the changes. So you can change the font type, size, positioning, coloring, and all that. Page limit will show you your page count and limit. I do not have a page limit because my publisher did not enter one. This is an infinity sign, so I can create as many pages as I'd like. And the 0 here will change as we start adding pages. This is also where you can see a page overview once you begin. As of right now, it's blank, but once we start building our yearbook, a pie chart will appear with these 4 different color codes. This is also where you will submit both your yearbook and cover once you're complete. We'll take a look at that a little later. So we'll go back to our book tab, which is where you will create, organize, and manage your pages. To begin creating pages, you come to your Add Pages button here, and we'll first take a look at blank. Blank is where you create blank pages or sections of pages, and you can create more than one at a time. So in the title field, you will enter a name, and then you can enter the number of pages you want in that section, and double pages is how you can turn it into a double page spread. So I'm going to create a few. I'm changing the page count for these ones. Once you're complete, you select the Create sections. So the titles we were giving the pages or sections will be viewable on the ladder as well. So as you can see, it takes a moment to create these, and the reason why it does take a moment is it's communicating with remote storage by automatically saving those projects there. So as you can see, I have 6 pages, and when I hover over the pages at the top, you will see the title of the page or section. To add templates, we can go to our Add Pages and then our Template option. This is where you can access the database of templates that are available for you. We have 3 different categories: Basic, Complete, and Themed. As you can see, Basic is divided into other categories, but they're just very basic layouts. There's no color, clip art pieces. It's just kind of a skeleton to help get you started. Complete yearbooks are divided into categories, and this is categories of templates that you can use to literally build your entire book. So as you can see, the background matches, the clip art, the font coloring, and style will all match. So you can browse through this folder, and when you find one that you like, you can simply click the Add to Book button that will appear on them, and it will get added to your book ladder on the right. Our other template options is themed pages. These are different categories based on themes for schools. So as you can see, there's a yearbook special pages, so those will be ones specifically seen in yearbooks, but there's all other kinds such as the holidays and arts and performance and media. Again, they are pre-designed and all have the Add to Book button that you can click on when you've picked one. Under Add to Pages, our next button is Portrait. This is a button used to add a portrait page into your yearbook after the PSPA file has been imported on the Portraits tab. A more in-depth look at using the Portraits button is available in our Desktop Portrait Pages Lunch and Learn. Our next option is My Sections. This is where all the pages are saved. If a page has been deleted off of the book ladder, you can add it back to the book ladder by coming to the My Sections. There's the pages we have started so far. The templates are not yet showing up. Once we have opened them and saved changes, they will then be placed in our My Sections folder as well. If you wish to retrieve a page from last year, you can change the school year filter to a previous year and you will see all its work, and you can just use the Add to Book button. When you hover your mouse over each page, you will see menu appear. This is our Pages menu. The first button is Edit this section. This is how you open a page into the Editor tab where you can actually begin to place backgrounds, images, text on your page to design it. Create a copy of this section. If you've been working on a layout and you really like it and it took you a while and you want to use it farther down in the yearbook but don't want to rebuild it, create a copy. Nice and easy. View preview will just, it doesn't open it into edit mode, it just gives you a closer preview so you could take a quick look through. Assign this page for editing. This is where the team member user IDs come in. So I mentioned that editors have to be assigned to a page. So as of right now, the team member I created can't access any pages. So I can use this assign this page for editing. There's my list, and I can pick the team member I created and hit save. Now they will be able to access only page 3 when they come in. You can tell this page has been assigned because it's got a little 1 beside the silhouette, and when you hover over it, it tells you who it is assigned to. Next button is remove this section from the book. This is how you can delete it from the book. So we decide we don't want the school expansion section. I can hit delete. It will ask you to confirm and you hit remove. You haven't permanently deleted it. If I change my mind again, I can go to Add Pages, My Sections, and there's the school expansion. And then the last button is Submit this page to be reviewed. This is really handy in a team setup because if there's children or other people working on the book with you, you can tell them once they're done their page, they can click this Submit this page to be reviewed. The main manager will be notified and then they can review the page. So I'll submit this for review. And then the manager can review it, and once it's been reviewed, they'll have 2 options. Mark this page as rejected or mark this page as approved. Once it's approved, it cannot be edited anymore. If you decide the page is incomplete and needs more work, you can reject it so that either yourself or the team member responsible for it can make some changes. So I'll hit reject and you say unapproved. Next, if you decide things aren't sitting in the order that you want it to be, you can click and drag the pages around. You'll see when I'm moving my mouse, the 2 black arrows with a little blue line move. That's indicating where the page will end up. Like so. This section here, the extended core program, when I hover over one of the pages, you'll see Not Started appears at the bottom of both pages. What that is telling me is that those 2 pages are one section, so they're connected. So I am not able to drag a page in between them because that's one file. So if you move the extended core program, those 2 pages will move together. Up top here, we also have a cover tab. This is where you can create your cover. You have an Add Cover button, and you have 3 options: blank, template, and My Sections. My Sections is, again, just where you can go to access all the files that are saved on our server. Blank is how you can get a blank cover. Template is a variety of templates that we have available to you. You can just find the one that appeals to you. Click the Set as Cover button, and then it is placed on the ladder. You can then open it up into edit mode using the Edit This section. And we are now on the Editor tab. This is where you can then make all your customizations, such as changing the text, adding a photo, entering your school name, and correcting the year. All our templates are not set in stone, so if you decide you want more than one photo, you can add more photos. Or if you decide you don't like that photo frame, it can be removed. So the templates are just starting points. Once you're done, in the upper right hand corner, this is where you can hit save to just update it, but then continue working, or save and close and close. Opening and closing each page, as you can see, you'll see a loading bar, and it will take a moment because that is the software communicating with our remote storage server. When you are done your yearbook and ready to submit, you will go to the Admin tab. Now under the yearbook submission and cover submission, we have Create Proof buttons. To submit your book, you would select the Create Proof. Some warnings will appear and it tells you you're about to submit a proof. If it was unhappy, some of these would be red, but it is happy with everything, so you go ahead and select Create Proof. Now, depending on the size of your book, the generating of the proof time will vary. Until it has been generated, this refresh option will be there. Once a proof is submitted, a notification will be sent to the yearbook publisher notifying them of the proof. Here is an example of what that email would look like. The publisher can then download a PDF. The preview view link will give you a web view. This email, if the publisher wishes, can be forwarded to the school. Once the proof has been generated, this refresh will change to either reject proof or submit book. The reject proof will be used if you decide the book isn't ready and you have more work to do. If you feel the book is completely done, you can use the submit button, submit book button. Once the submit book button is clicked, you are agreeing that your book is complete and your yearbook publisher can proceed with printing. If changes are required, publishers must then access the admin tab themselves and reject the book. Design tips. This next section covers 4 tips to consider from a design perspective. These tips are not related to your creativity as a graphic designer. These are key considerations that anyone must consider no matter their creative talent. Let's take a look. Tip 1 is to plan the design. We talked about this earlier, but it bears repeating. The first secret to creating a successful yearbook is to map the project out before you put a single image to the canvas. The bulk of your time will be spent organizing images and determining the flow of your book into pages and sections. Once this work is done, the page design process will be a breeze. Remember to start planning early in the year and map out your sections. Well-designed yearbooks use color, font, and style to create a look just like a magazine. A book can carry a consistent look across the entirety of its pages, preferable for small books, or across sections within the book. Backgrounds define sections with a common background texture and color. Use one common background across all portrait pages, or at least across each grade. The color will distinguish the sections from one another. Also use a consistent border size and color across sections. Color. Avoid making your book a rainbow of colors on each page. This distracts from the photos and most people will not find it appealing. Pick 3 colors and reuse this across the book along with neutrals such as white, black, gray, beige, and tan. Your book will be unified and the images will be the focus, not the decorations. Font. Pick one font for all titles and headers and another font for body text, meaning paragraph of text. Don't leave your text in standard Arial. It looks unfinished. You can use other font and text styles to punctuate the book, such as quotations and slogans, but keep the bulk of the text consistent. Tip 3 is avoid the clutter. The number one problem with most yearbooks is using too many images per page. Your yearbook is not the repository of every image ever taken at the school. Be selective. You may think that you need to include as many photos as possible so everyone in the school gets their photo in the book. Unfortunately, if you overcrowd your pages with dozens of tiny images, then essentially no one is visible in any of the photos. Don't auto-collage 24 or more images on a page. Pick the best 6 to 10 and feature 1 or 2 prominently, framing them nicely. A yearbook should tell the story of your school year, so select a few good images to tell that story. Select well-composed shots that show faces and people participating in activities. Don't use nondescript shots of group activities or photos with random people's backs facing the camera. Faraway shots of sporting events or performances won't let you see what is going on. Tell your photographers to get in close to the action. Show faces, zoom in on the meaningful objects, just like the pros do. Don't be afraid to leave blank areas in your book, particularly around the edges of the page. A blank space around the photo frames them, gives them importance. Pushing images too close to the page's edge risks having them cut off as well when the book is printed. A half-inch margin around the meaningful content of your page will make your pages look professionally designed. If you are not confident about your design abilities, find inspiration in news magazines and scrapbooking websites. Find a page layout you like and copy the general arrangement of text and images on your page. Don't try to reproduce the page element for element, just the general placement of elements on the page. Examples of badly designed pages. These 2 pages are very cluttered and the borders in the second one are way too thick. Readers will not take the time to look at the photos on these pages because they are very small and completely overwhelm the page. There is no story being told. The pages are being used as a dumping ground for images, not as a page to tell a story about the school year. Examples of well-designed pages. The images have been selectively chosen to fit together and the backgrounds complement the images. There is sufficient empty space on the page to give focus to the photos and some text to define the story. Use your school colors for inspiration. If your school has a color theme, use it on your main pages. Outside and inside covers, messages from the principal, general news, and the portrait section, etc. Or be inspired by the design of your school. For instance, if the school is painted in a particular color scheme, carry it to the book. Use background photos of your school and surroundings. Take photos of the floors, murals, lockers, sporting equipment, art displays, school grounds, etc., and use these as background images for your pages. Zoom in on the textures, or use blur and black and white or sepia settings to soften the images. Use quotes and slogans as graphic elements. Text can be used to decorate your book too. Does the teacher have a particular slogan or expression they are famous for using? Does your school have a cheer or a song? Ask students and teachers for one word or one-line sentence to sum up their year and pepper these throughout the book. Scan the headlines. Did your school or any of the staff or students get mentioned in the news? Scan or photograph the headline and add it as a ripped banner. Don't add the whole article unless you have permission from the publication to do so. That concludes our presentation. I would like to thank you all for attending our Lunch and Learn on Project Management Best Practices.